The envelope arrived on a rainy Tuesday, unmarked except for Faith's name scrawled in her mother's familiar cursive. Eliza had been dead for 6 months. Her ashes scattered over the Pacific as per her wishes. But here was this ghost from the past, delivered by a faceless courier who vanished into the Seattle mist. Faith's hands trembled as she tore it open, revealing a small USB drive labeled "For my daughter. Truth sets free," and in that instant, the world she thought she knew began to crack. Faith stared at the drive, her mind racing back to the funeral where her stepmother, Marlene, had stood stoic beside her father, whispering about moving on, about erasing the complications Eliza left behind. Complications, that's what Marlene called it, as if Eliza's life had been a messy footnote in their family history. Faith had always sensed the undercurrents, the way Marlene purged Eliza's belongings with ruthless efficiency, donating clothes, shredding journals, all while preaching about fresh starts. But Faith couldn't let go. She was 25, still grappling with her own secrets, the ones that mirrored her mother's in ways she dared not admit. Plugging the drive into her laptop, Faith hesitated, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. What could Eliza possibly have to say from beyond the grave? The file opened to a video, Eliza's face filling the screen, looking gaunt but determined. The hospital room behind her blurred in soft focus. "Faith, my love," Eliza began, her voice steady despite the evident pain. "If you're watching this, I'm gone. But there's so much I need to tell you. About me, about us, about the lies that have poisoned our family." Faith leaned in, breath caught, as Eliza confessed. She had been in love with a woman named Sophia for years, a secret affair hidden from everyone, including Faith's father. It wasn't just an affair. It was her truth, suppressed under societal expectations and family pressures. The revelation hit Faith like a freight train. Her mother, the pillar of quiet strength, the one who baked apple pies and volunteered at church, had been living a double life. Eliza spoke of the guilt, the internal war between her love for her family and her authentic self. "I married your father because it was expected," she said, tears glistening. "But Sophia, she was my soul. We met at a support group for women questioning their paths. It started innocently, but it became everything." Faith paused the video, her mind swirling. How had she missed this? The late nights Eliza claimed were for work, the distant looks during family dinners. And now Marlene knew? Faith recalled the arguments after Eliza's diagnosis, Marlene's accusations of unnatural influences, tainting the household. Resuming the video, Eliza dropped the bomb. Marlene had discovered the affair months before the cancer took hold. "She threatened to expose me, to take you away if I didn't end it. But I couldn't. Sophia was there until the end, holding my hand when no one else could." Faith's stomach churned. Marlene, the woman who stepped in after Eliza's death, marrying Faith's father in a whirlwind ceremony, had been erasing Eliza not out of grief but out of bigotry. The video continued, Eliza pleading for Faith to understand, to forgive. "Don't let them silence us, Faith. Your own heart. I see it in you. The way you look at your friend Eliza." "No, wait, that's not right." Faith blinked. Eliza had named her lover Sophia, but the coincidence stung. No, Faith's own secret was with a woman named Lily, her college roommate, the one she pushed away out of fear. The internal conflict raged in Faith. How could her mother hide this? The betrayal stung, not just from Eliza, but from the family facade. Faith thought of her father, oblivious or complicit, now blissfully remarried. She paced her small apartment, the walls closing in. What would she do with this? Confront Marlene? Expose the recording at the next family gathering? The thought terrified her, yet ignited a spark. For years, Faith had buried her feelings for women, dating men to appease her conservative upbringing in suburban Seattle. Church on Sundays, barbecues with neighbors who whispered about those people. Now her mother's voice echoed in her head. "Live your truth or it will destroy you from inside." As the video ended, Eliza's final words lingered. "I left evidence with Sophia. Find her, Faith. She'll help you fight back." Faith's mind raced. Fight back against what? The erasure, the judgment, the suffocating normalcy that Marlene enforced. She Googled Sophia's name from clues in the video. A bookstore owner in Portland. The drive was 3 hours. Could she do it? The doubt crept in. What if this ruined everything? Her job at the marketing firm, her fragile relationship with her father. But the anger bubbled. Marlene had systematically removed Eliza's photos, her books, even her favorite mug, claiming it was for healing. Healing for whom? Faith grabbed her keys, the decision crystallizing in a rush of adrenaline. She couldn't let Marlene win, couldn't let her mother's legacy be scrubbed clean because it didn't fit the heteronormative mold. Driving south, rain pelting the windshield, Faith's thoughts turned inward. Why had Eliza waited until death to confess? Was it cowardice or protection? Faith felt the weight of inherited shame, the societal chains that bound women like them. In Portland, she found the bookstore, quaint and inviting, Sophia behind the counter, her eyes widening in recognition. "You look just like her," Sophia whispered, pulling Faith into a back room. There, more recordings, letters, proof of the love that dared not speak its name. Sophia recounted the years. Stolen weekends, whispered promises, the agony of hiding. "Your mother wanted to leave, but she stayed for you," Sophia said, voice breaking. Faith absorbed it, the pieces fitting. The distant vacations Eliza took alone, now revealed as escapes with Sophia. The betrayal deepened. Her father must have suspected, yet said nothing. Back home that night, Faith confronted her inner demons. Was she ready to out herself, to wield this recording like a weapon? The family dinner loomed tomorrow. Marlene's triumphant announcement of a new baby. Faith's hand hovered over her phone. One call could shatter it all. The tension built as Faith replayed the video. Eliza's face a haunting reminder. "Don't repeat my mistakes," her mother urged. Faith felt the pull of loyalty versus truth, the moral quagmire of exposing secrets that could destroy lives. She thought of Lily, the woman she loved but denied, the dates she faked to keep appearances. Tomorrow she decided she'd play the recording. Let the chips fall. But sleep evaded her, doubts whispering. What if truth wasn't worth the pain? The family dinner table was set with Marlene's signature precision china plates, fresh flowers, the aroma of roast chicken masking the underlying rot. Faith arrived early, the USB drive burning a hole in her pocket, her father's hug feeling like a trap. "You okay, kiddo?" he asked, oblivious as ever, while Marlene beamed from the kitchen, her pregnancy glow a stark contrast to the shadows in Faith's heart. Sitting down, Faith's mind churned with the revelations from Sophia. The letters detailed Eliza's torment, the pressure from her own parents to marry straight out of high school, the internal denial that led to a loveless union. "I loved your father as a friend," Eliza wrote, "but my heart belonged elsewhere." Faith glanced at Marlene, who chattered about nursery colors, her erasure of Eliza now glaringly obvious, the empty photo frames, the cleared attic. How had Faith been so blind? The dinner progressed, small talk veiling the storm, until Marlene raised a glass. "To new beginnings," she toasted, her eyes flicking to Faith with false warmth. Inside, Faith battled. Expose now or wait? The moral dilemma clawed at her. Was vengeance justice or just more pain? She thought of the societal prejudices that forced Eliza into hiding, the church sermons condemning sins of the flesh, the neighbors' gossip that could ruin careers. Faith's own job hung in the balance. Her boss, a conservative donor, wouldn't take kindly to scandal. Yet the anger surged. Marlene had not just erased Eliza, she'd vilified her in whispers, calling her unfit to Faith's aunts. As dessert arrived, Faith's resolve hardened. "I have something to share," she said, voice steady despite the tremor. Plugging the drive into the living room TV, Eliza's face appeared, her confession unfolding like a grenade. The room froze. Her father paled, Marlene's fork clattering to the plate. "Turn that off," Marlene hissed, but Faith stood firm. Eliza's words filled the air. The affair, the threats, the love that wouldn't die. "Marlene knew," Eliza accused on screen, "and she used it to push me out, even on my deathbed." Chaos erupted. Her father stammered denials. "I didn't know," while Marlene's face twisted in fury. Lies. She was delusional from the meds. But Faith pressed play on the next file. Emails from Marlene demanding Eliza end the affair or face exposure. The evidence was damning, timestamps aligning with Eliza's decline. Faith's inner voice screamed, "This is for Mom." But the cost, the hurt in her father's eyes, the betrayal etching his features. He had remarried quickly, perhaps to bury his own suspicions. Marlene lunged for the remote, but Faith blocked her. "You erased her because she loved a woman? Because it didn't fit your perfect picture. The confrontation escalated, Marlene spitting venom. She was destroying this family. That lifestyle, it's wrong, sinful. I protected us. Faith's heart ached. Protected or controlled? The societal mirror reflected back. How many families hid such truths under layers of denial? Faith thought of her own closeted life, the dates with men that left her empty, the fear of judgment from friends. Her father collapsed into a chair, whispering, "Eliza, why didn't you tell me?" The pain in his voice pierced Faith. Had he loved her enough to accept? Or would he have rejected her too? The room spun with accusations, Marlene storming out, slamming doors. Alone with her father, Faith confessed her piece. "Dad, I'm like Mom. I love women." The words hung heavy, a double blow. He stared, then nodded slowly. "I suspected. But I didn't want to see." The admission cracked something in Faith, relief mixed with sorrow. That night, back in her apartment, Faith called Lily. "I need to see you," she said, the decision a leap into the unknown. Lily arrived, concern etched on her face, and Faith poured out the story. The recording, the confrontation, her own truth. Lily held her, whispering, "You're brave." But bravery came with scars. Marlene's threats echoed in texts. "You'll regret this." Faith pondered the ethics. Was outing Eliza's secret a betrayal of her privacy, even posthumously, or necessary for healing? The internal tug-of-war intensified. Society's homophobia a constant specter. The next day, Sophia called, offering more support, legal advice on inheritance disputes, as Marlene had maneuvered to claim Eliza's assets. Faith met her in a cafe, the conversation delving into Eliza's regrets. "She wanted to come out but feared losing you," Sophia said. Faith felt the weight. Had her mother's silence enabled Marlene's erasure? The logic tightened. Actions have consequences, choices ripple. Faith decided to go public, anonymously leaking the story to a local LGBTQ+ blog, sparking debates online. Comments flooded, support, vitriol, the divide stark. Internally, Faith questioned. Was this empowerment or revenge? The family fractured further, her father filing for divorce, citing deceit. Marlene fought back, spreading rumors about Faith's instability. The pressure mounted, job whispers reaching her ears. Yet, in Lily's arms, Faith found solace, their kiss a defiant act against the world. The story's tension built, each decision a domino falling, leading to inevitable fallout. Faith wondered if truth was worth the isolation, the lost relationships. But turning back now meant betraying herself and Eliza. Weeks blurred into a haze of legal battles and emotional wreckage. Faith's father, shattered by the revelations, moved into a hotel, leaving Marlene to rage in their empty house. The recording had gone viral in niche circles. Anonymous posts linking to audio clips that painted Eliza as a martyr to homophobia. Faith scrolled through comments late at night, the support buoying her against the hate. Families like this deserve exposure, versus destroying lives for what? Revenge. The moral ambiguity gnawed at her. Had she done right by amplifying her mother's voice, or exploited her pain? At work, the whispers turned to stares. Her boss called her in, citing distractions. "We value inclusivity," he said, but his eyes betrayed discomfort. Faith held her ground, but the fear crept in. Unemployment in a city where networks mattered. Society's underbelly exposed itself. Friends distancing. Relatives siding with Marlene's narrative of a troubled daughter. Faith's inner monologue raged. Why must we pay for loving differently? Eliza's letters echoed, detailing her own job losses after rumors spread. The cycle repeated, generational trauma unchained by one USB drive. Lily became her anchor, their relationship deepening amid the storm. "We're in this together," Lily said during a tense dinner, but Faith worried. Was she dragging Lily into the abyss? The decision to come out publicly weighed heavy. A local news outlet reached out for an interview. Accept and risk more backlash, decline and let Marlene's version prevail. Faith chose the former, sitting under bright lights, recounting Eliza's story with measured emotion. "My mother was erased because she loved a woman," she said, voice cracking. The airing sparked protests, supporters outside Marlene's home, countervoices decrying privacy invasion. The confrontation with Marlene came unannounced. She showed up at Faith's door, eyes red-rimmed, the pregnancy making her vulnerable. "You've ruined everything," Marlene accused. Faith stood firm. "You started this by threatening Mom." The dialogue tensed, revelations spilling. Marlene admitted knowing about the affair, using it to wedge into the family. "I loved your father first," she confessed. "But Eliza stood in the way." The betrayal deepened. Marlene had been her father's colleague, harboring feelings, exploiting Eliza's secret for gain. Faith's mind reeled. Was love ever pure, or always tainted by ambition? Pushing back, Faith demanded, "Why erase her? Photos, memories, gone." Marlene's response chilled. "To protect the baby from that influence. It's not natural." The homophobia laid bare societal echoes of laws and sermons that marginalized. Faith felt the damage, her own childhood rewired, questioning every hug, every argument. Internally she debated, forgive for peace or fight for justice. The choice loomed, ethics clashing. Marlene's unborn child innocent, yet the cycle must break. Sophia joined the fray, testifying in a custody hearing over Eliza's estate. Eliza wanted Faith to have it all, she said, producing wills altered suspiciously post-death. The courtroom drama unfolded, lawyers dissecting lives like cadavers. Faith's father took the stand, admitting ignorance but regret. "I failed her." Tears flowed, the family publicly fractured. Faith's heart twisted. Love for her dad warred with resentment. Had he turned a blind eye? The logic pointed yes, complicity in silence. Post-hearing, Faith retreated to Lily's apartment, the weight crushing. "Am I the villain?" she whispered. Lily reassured, but doubts persisted. Society's judgment amplified. Online trolls targeting her orientation, threats forcing her to change numbers. The internal conflict peaked. Truth liberated, but at what cost? Eliza's voice in her head urged persistence, but the toll mounted: sleepless nights, anxiety, meds. A turning point came via an unexpected ally. Her aunt, Eliza's sister, who flew in from New York. "I knew," she admitted over coffee. "Your mom confided in me. I urged her to stay quiet for you." The revelation stung. More secrets, more choices enabling erasure. Faith confronted. "Why not fight?" The aunt sighed. "Fear. Society wasn't ready." But now? Protests grew, the story inspiring others to share. Faith felt a shift, from victim to catalyst. Yet, the personal price. Lily strained under scrutiny, their dates shadowed by paranoia. Deciding to escalate, Faith organized a vigil for Eliza, inviting media. Hundreds attended, candles flickering against prejudice. Speeches highlighted systemic issues, family rejection, mental health tolls. Marlene crashed it, pleading, "Stop this madness." The standoff electrified, cameras rolling. Faith faced her. "This is for every woman silenced." The crowd cheered, but inside Faith questioned. Was unity worth division? The high-wire act of morality teetered, decisions irreversible. As the vigil ended, Faith received a message from her father. "We need to talk." The anticipation built, the story's arc bending toward climax. What would he say? Absolution or more pain? Faith braced, the internal storm raging on. The meeting with her father unfolded in a neutral coffee shop, rain streaking the windows like tears. He looked aged, the divorce papers fresh in his briefcase. "I didn't know the extent," he began, voice hoarse. Faith listened, her mind dissecting. Ignorance or willful blindness? He admitted suspecting Eliza's distance, but chalked it to stress. "When Marlene told me after, I was angry, but I let her handle it." The confession hit hard. Complicity in erasure for convenience. Faith's inner voice accused. "You chose ease over truth." The dialogue intensified. "Why remarry so fast?" Faith pressed. He confessed love for Marlene predating Eliza's death. An emotional affair born of loneliness. The layers peeled back, betrayals compounding. "I failed you both," he said, tears falling. Faith felt pity mingle with rage. The moral quandary. Forgive a flawed man or cut ties? Society's expectations for fathers loomed. The pressure to maintain family units despite cracks. Leaving the shop, Faith pondered the ripple effects. The vigil had amplified the story nationally, LGBTQ+ organizations offering support, but backlash intensified. Petitions against her agenda. Job loss followed, her boss citing reputational risk. Unemployment thrust her into vulnerability, relying on Sophia's bookstore job offer in Portland. The move tempted. Escape Seattle's ghosts, start anew with Lily. But running felt like defeat, echoing Eliza's hidden life. Internally, she wrestled. Sacrifice for change or self-preserve. Lily's patience waned under the strain. I love you, but this is consuming us, she said during an argument. Faith recoiled. Was her fight pushing away the one she loved? The drama heightened, choices stark. Prioritize relationship or justice. Recalling Eliza's letters. Love requires courage, not concealment. Faith decided to propose a truce with Marlene, meeting at a park bench. For the baby's sake, Faith offered. Let's end the war. Marlene, weary, agreed partially. I'll stop the smears if you retract the story. The negotiation tensed, ethics clashing. Compromise or capitulation? Faith refused retraction. Truth stays. Marlene stormed off, but seeds of doubt planted. Later, a hospital call. Marlene in labor prematurely, stress-induced. Faith rushed there, guilt gnawing. Had her actions caused this? Waiting room thoughts spiraled. The cost of conviction, innocence caught in crossfire. Her father arrived, grasping her hand. We're family, flawed as we are. The baby arrived healthy. A girl named after Eliza in a surprising twist. Marlene, exhausted, whispered. Maybe I was wrong. The moment cracked her facade. Homophobia challenged by reality. Post-birth dynamics shifted. Faith held her half-sister. The innocence a reminder of stakes. Internally, she reflected. Change comes slow through confrontation and compassion. Society's prejudices didn't vanish, but dialogues opened. Family therapy suggested, boundaries redrawn. Faith accepted the Portland job, Lily agreeing to relocate. The move symbolized rebirth, but scars remained. Online debates raged. Outing the dead, heroic or harmful? Faith engaged anonymously, questioning her path. Sophia became a mentor, sharing stories of activism in the 80s, the AIDS crisis forging resilience. Your mother would be proud, she said. Faith felt Eliza's presence, the recording a catalyst for awakening. Yet doubts lingered. Had exposure healed or harmed? Her relationship with Lily strengthened, open dates without fear. But societal stares persisted. A Pride event invitation arrived, Faith speaking on panels about family acceptance. The platform empowered but vulnerability exposed, threats necessitating security. The climax built as Marlene filed a lawsuit for defamation, claiming emotional distress. Courtroom revisited, testimonies raw. Faith's lawyer dismantled defenses, emails as evidence. Marlene broke on stand. I feared the stigma for the child. The admission humanized her, prejudice rooted in upbringing. Judge ruled in Faith's favor, but urged reconciliation. Post-verdict, Faith approached Marlene. We can coexist. The tentative peace fragile, built on ruins. Internally, Faith assessed the toll. Lost job, strained bonds, but gained authenticity. Lily proposed over dinner. Marry me in our truth. The joy pierced the drama, a beacon amid chaos. Faith accepted, the decision a defiant stand against erasure. As plans unfolded, the story's threads wove toward resolution. Each character paying prices. Marlene her illusions, father his denial, Faith her innocence. The wedding was small, held in Portland's Rose Garden under clear skies. A far cry from the storms that preceded. Faith stood beside Lily, vows exchanged with raw honesty. Through secrets and revelations, I choose you. Sophia officiated, her presence a link to Eliza. Faith's father attended, awkward but sincere. Marlene absent but sending a card, progress albeit slow. The event symbolized triumph, but undercurrents of loss lingered. Absent friends, judgmental relatives. Society's acceptance partial, the fight ongoing. Post-honeymoon, Faith dove into advocacy, starting a podcast on hidden family stories. Episodes dissected moral dilemmas. When does truth become weaponized? Listeners shared tales echoing Eliza's plight. Parents disowned, loves concealed. Faith's inner reflections deepened. Her journey from denial to defiance, the price paid in isolation. Job stability returned via nonprofit work, supporting LGBTQ+ youth. Lily thrived too, their home a sanctuary. Yet challenges persisted. A family reunion loomed, Marlene inviting all. Faith debated attending. Reconcile fully, or maintain distance? The ethics tugged. Forgiveness heals but forgetting enables. Arriving, tensions simmered, Marlene's apology halting. I was scared, raised to believe it was wrong. Faith listened, empathy warring with hurt. The baby cooed, a bridge between worlds. Her father mediated. We've all made mistakes. The dialogue opened wounds but fostered understanding. Internally, Faith questioned the narrative. Hero or instigator? Eliza's recording had shocked but awakened. Society evolved incrementally. Laws changing, attitudes shifting, but personal battles raged. Faith visited Eliza's scattering site, whispering thanks. You gave me courage. The wind carried her words, a metaphysical closure. As months passed, the story's impact rippled. A book deal emerged, Faith chronicling the saga anonymously at first. Publishing under her name was a final leap. Reviews mixed. Inspiring versus exploitative. The debate fueled sales but invited scrutiny. Lily supported. Your voice matters. The partnership solidified. Weathering external pressures. One evening, Marlene called, voice trembling. The baby's first word. Sister. The moment thawed ice, a step toward mending. Faith visited, holding the child, seeing echoes of Eliza. The cycle broke? Not fully but cracked. Internal monologue persisted. Choices define us, consequences shape. Had Eliza's silence been wrong? Or protective? The podcast's finale episode posed the question to listeners, mirroring Faith's journey. Calls flooded, opinions divided. Truth absolute or contextual? Faith ended with her take. In hiding we lose ourselves, in revealing we risk all. But the ambiguity lingered, society's mirror reflecting back complexities. Years later, Faith reflected on the path. Betrayals mended partially, awakenings profound. The recording, once a shock, became a legacy. Yet, the moral gray persisted. Was erasure ever justifiable or always a sin? The family, reformed but scarred, navigated new norms. Faith's life, authentic at last, a testament to the costs of truth. In the end, as Faith watched her half-sister play, she wondered aloud to Lily. Did I do the right thing? The question hung, unanswered definitively. But was it right to unearth buried secrets that shatter lives? Or does protecting the facade ultimately cause more harm in the long run?